You have a vision, a calling, a sense that your life is supposed to mean something. And then you wake up, check your phone, and the day begins eating itself. Welcome to the Stoic Compass. I am EPICTETUS, and today I am joined by Jung and LAOZI. Today we are examining, what does a purposeful life actually look like day to day? People talk about purpose like it is a destination, like one day they will arrive somewhere and the confusion will stop. That is not purpose, that is fantasy. Purpose is not what you are moving toward. It is what governs how you move right now, in this hour, with what is actually in front of you. If you cannot name how your purpose shows up in the way you spend Tuesday afternoon, you do not have a purpose. You have a wish.
I would not dismiss the wish so quickly. The wish is data. What a person wishes for, genuinely and persistently, even when they cannot act on it, that points towards something real in them. The problem is not that people have visions. The problem is that the vision they consciously hold is often not the one driving them. Beneath the stated purpose, there is almost always another one, a hidden motive, something the ego will not examine directly. Until a person confronts that, they will feel perpetually misaligned, productive perhaps, but not purposeful.
You are both starting from the same assumption. That purpose is something a person must locate and then pursue. But what if the pursuit itself is the problem? A person who is constantly orienting toward purpose is never quite here. They are always measuring the day against the vision, and the day always loses. That is not a purposeful life. That is a life spent in judgment of itself.
That sounds reasonable, LAOZI, and it is completely useless as advice. What do you say to the person whose days are passing without shape or direction? Stop orienting toward purpose is not wisdom. It is an invitation to drift. People need to know what they are doing and why. Otherwise, every distraction becomes equally valid and the days dissolve into nothing.
I think there is something between those two positions that neither of you is touching. The question of what a purposeful life looks like day to day is not answered by will, deciding harder, as Epictetus seems to suggest, nor by release, as LAOZI implies. It is answered by recognition. A person must first recognize what is actually animating their life before they can organize around it. Most people are living in service to something they have never consciously named. Status, safety, approval, the avoidance of a particular kind of pain. When they call that purpose, they are lying to themselves politely.
Jung, you are saying people are deceived about their own motives. That may be true, but the answer you are pointing toward, look inside, find the real thing, then organize around it, still assumes that purpose is something you find and fix in place. I am questioning whether purpose has that structure at all.
Then what structure does it have? Because I have lived as a slave and I have lived as a teacher, and in both conditions I knew what I was doing and why. That knowing was not an abstraction, it was practical. It told me what to do with the hour in front of me. If purpose does not do that, if it does not govern the actual hour, then what is the point of discussing it?
The hour in front of you is exactly where this breaks down for most people, Epictetus. They know what they should do. They have said it out loud. They have written it down, and then they do not do it. Not because they lack discipline, because something in them is working against the stated direction. The psyche is not a single unified thing. There are parts of a person that want the purposeful life, and there are parts that are terrified of what that life would require them to give up. Until those parts are brought into the light, discipline is just a war a person wages on themselves.
That is closer to what I am pointing at, though I would say it differently. The person who is at war with themselves cannot act naturally, and action that is not natural, that is forced, that costs enormous effort to sustain, is not really in alignment with anything. It is just willpower, and willpower runs out. What you are calling purpose, Epictetus, sounds to me like a very strong determination. I am not sure that is the same thing.
Determination sustains, determination chooses. Determination is what separates the person who acts from the person who merely feels things about acting. You are both, in your different ways, explaining why people fail. I am asking what they should do instead. That is not the same conversation.
It is the same conversation. You cannot prescribe the right action to someone who does not understand why they keep taking the wrong one. The day-to-day of a purposeful life is not primarily about what a person does. It is about the quality of self-knowledge they bring to what they do. A person can do all the right things for the wrong reasons and feel completely hollow at the end of it. That hollowness is the symptom. The symptom is telling them something.
I want to return to something Epictetus said. He said purpose tells you what to do with the hour in front of you. I think that is the most useful thing that has been said so far. But I do not think it means what he thinks it means. The hour in front of you is specific, it is particular. It does not care about your vision. Purpose that only works when the conditions are favorable is not really purpose. It is preference.
Agreed. Which is exactly why I said purpose is not a destination. It is how you move, on the good day and on the terrible day, when the work is meaningful and when it is grinding, when you are seen and when you are invisible. The question is whether you are showing up the same way across all of those. That consistency, not the feeling but the behavior, is what a purposeful life actually looks like.
Consistency without self-knowledge can become rigidity. I have seen it. People who are extremely consistent in the wrong direction, committed to a version of themselves that was formed in reaction to an old wound and has never been examined. Their days are full, their direction is clear, and there is a kind of deadness in them that they cannot account for. Consistency is not the test. Authenticity is the test, and I use that word carefully. I mean genuine alignment between the deeper self and the life being lived.
The deadness Jung is describing, I think that is what happens when a person tries to hold purpose too tightly. Like a hand gripping water, you cannot carry more by squeezing harder. The purposeful life does not look like iron discipline from the outside. It looks like someone who has stopped fighting what they actually are.
Stopped fighting what they actually are. I can accept that, but watch how you use it. Because for every person who genuinely needs to stop fighting their nature, there are 10 who use that phrase to justify stopping altogether. I am just being what I am is the sentence of a person who has given up, dressed in the language of wisdom. The fight I'm describing is not against yourself. It is against distraction, against comfort, against the 10,000 small surrenders that add up to a wasted life.
The 10,000 small surrenders. That is actually the most interesting thing you have said, EPICTETUS, because those small surrenders are rarely random. They follow a pattern. And the pattern, if you look at it honestly, almost always points back to something specific. A fear, an avoidance, a story a person has been telling themselves since they were young. The daily life of purpose has to include, I think, some regular practice of looking at that pattern, not obsessively, but honestly.
A person who has stopped needing to understand why they are drifting because they have found a way of living that does not require constant correction. That is different from the person who has simply given up. You cannot tell them apart from the outside, but they feel entirely different from the inside.
Then tell me what the one who has not given up actually does. What does the day look like? Because that is the question. Not what it feels like, not what it means. What does the person actually do?
They ask themselves, with some regularity, whether what they are doing still reflects who they genuinely are. Not as performance, as inquiry. They hold the question open. They notice when they feel animated versus when they feel hollow, and they take the hollow feeling seriously rather than powering through it as if it were just weakness.
They do not over-engineer the day. They do the next thing that is actually in front of them, without inflating it into a statement about their entire life. Purpose that only appears in large dramatic moments is decorative. It is not load-bearing.
That I will take. Purpose that is not load-bearing is decorative, yes. But notice, it still has to be there. You still have to know what you are carrying and why. You cannot navigate by a star you refuse to look at. You have been arguing about purpose. None of you have said what it asks of the actual day. Let me say it plainly. A purposeful life does not look dramatic. It does not look like a person burning with meaning from the moment they wake up. Most days, it looks like someone who has made a small number of decisions about what matters and who enforces those decisions quietly, without fanfare, even when the day makes it inconvenient. Here is what is actually in your control. Where your attention goes, what you choose to do in the first hour, what you refuse to do when something easier presents itself, what you return to after you have been pulled away. That is it. That is the whole list. Purpose is not a feeling you maintain. It is a direction you return to. The reason most people feel like their days do not reflect their purpose is not because they lack meaning. It is because they have not made the small decisions specific enough. They know what matters in general. They have not decided what that means for today, for this task, for this hour. So today, try this. Before the day begins, name one thing, one specific action that is in direct service of what matters most to you. Not a goal, not a project, one action. Something that will take less than an hour. Do that thing first before the day has a chance to replace it with something easier. Do not evaluate how it felt afterward. Just note that you did it. Do it again tomorrow. That is what a purposeful life looks like from the inside on an ordinary day. It is not a revelation, it is a practice of returning. The days will not sort themselves. They will fill with whatever you allow into them, and they will feel full. And at the end, you will wonder where they went. You already know what matters to you. That is not the problem. The problem is whether you are willing to protect it. Not in theory, but in the actual hour, against the actual distraction with no one watching. That is the only place purpose exists, right there, in what you do next. If today's conversation has served you, take it further. Pay Attention by C. Tribute, 12 Lessons in the Practice of Seeing Clearly. Available now on Amazon.